round 4 of the LG Super Racing Weekends. We're half an hour outside the Spanish city of Madrid, the former home of the Spanish Grand Prix, the circuit of Jarama. Well, this circuit hosted the penultimate round of last year's Super Racing Weekends, and it was action-packed and drama all the way, and it looks likely to be very much the same here this weekend. Hot, sunny and demanding is this Jarama racetrack. Like Brno, tight and twisty, plenty of elevation changes, big long front straight here as well, but it is still hard to imagine that this was once a Grand Prix track. Like the French circuit of Dijon and the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, it hosted some of the world's greatest turbocharged racers in the early 80s, but it is a twisty circuit, predominantly tough on left-hand tyres, but with the temperature, it's going to be pretty abrasive on both sides of the car. It's round 4 at Jarama in Spain, and what season we've had already. 3 different races, 2 different winners, twice against the odds. The list of Storms have motored on to victory. Well, thrilling battles look likely to continue. Christophe Bouchou thinks so anyway. So here the pits are full of high-tech equipment and very professional teams, and for drivers it's great to work in this series. A lot of spectators for the Super Racing Weekends as well. It's growing the audience on the TV and at the circuits, and the involvement of Eurosport certainly helped there. He says there's been some great race reporting, and we hope that that will continue. Well, unlucky at Silverstone, Anthony Kumpen looked set for glory until the wheel fell off the car and he lost the race.
We were far in the lead. We were about 50 seconds in the lead. Then behind of us there was a big fight for second place. So about 20 minutes before the end our car stopped with a rim that broke. And then the other 4 cars made a very spectacular race.
And in the GT class, it's still Lister versus Viper versus Ferrari. Of course, Kumpen there leading last time out at Brno, not at Silverstone. And incidentally, the Carsport Holland car also having a bit of a wheel problem here at Jarama, but more of that later. Laber competition car and the Belmondo cars battling with the Listers. Marc Duez, the winner at Silverstone, saying it's not easy with the level of equipment of the cars like the Lister, and particularly the new car, the Ferrari, which is a lot more modern than the Vipers. It's got a lot of potential and they still have development work, I think, but our margin of development is pretty thin and we have to work very hard to keep ourselves at the front. Brno and the Lister passing the number 4 Viper to take the lead onto the final lap. Number 14 car winning after victory in the opening race at Magny-Cours.
Well, the racing a bit more interesting. To be honest, you know, Hazelman should have scored 10 points at the last round. He didn't. So it looks like we've got a big lead, but it's not us winning the races, it's them losing the races. So to be honest, if they all got their acts together, they'd be winning the races and we'd be finishing 3rd, 2nd, 4th, so on. But we've been able to capitalise on their mistakes.
The Ferrari has been very quick indeed. Thomas Enger setting pole in the Superpole by a big margin and running away from the pack at his home circuit at Brno. But the BMS car went off and then the engine ate some gravel. Andrea Piccini's the lead driver in the 23 car. I said we started the championship with effectively a brand new car to us. We didn't know anything. Drivers didn't know it. The team didn't know it. And so we're learning all the time. I hope that we will get some wins before the end of the championship. But we still have a couple of problems to resolve. Well, Nicholas Springer and Jamie Campbell-Walter then, the championship points leaders coming to round 4. The Pro-Am arrangement going very well indeed, at least at the moment. Well, let's have a look at what happened in Superpole then. 6th in the GT category, Fabrizio Golin, the number 4 Chrysler Viper. 2 Carsport Holland cars in the championship. The Carsport Holland and Racing Box Italian team joining forces over the winter. So we've got one Dutch-Belgian driver lineup with Anthony Kumpen and Mike Hazemans, and one all-Italian lineup here in the number 4 machine. Well, the Racing Box car and the Carsport Holland team with a very highly developed and highly modified Viper. Carsport Holland have always been very keen on working hard on the machine. After free practice, Mike Hazemans suffering another loose left rear wheel has raised a little bit of a question mark, though, for the team. Well, the number 4 car is 6th in the NGT category. In 5th place, Fabio Babini now. This is the number 12 car. He shares with Mark Duez. Again, notice the GT cars all running right up by the pit wall there down the front straight as well. And this is the car that won at Silverstone, the 3rd victory for the Belmondo team in their FIA GT history. Only their first in the last 18 months. Well, this was a good circuit for the Belmondo cars last year. They were on the podium here. Ferrari won, Lister was second. No, I beg your pardon. Ferrari won and the Belmondo cars were second and third, the closest they got to a victory last year. And they must be hoping for another good result here. But what about the Lister Storm, the number 14 car carrying maximum weight, or the highest weight at least of all the cars in the field at the moment, because they have won 2 of the 3 races so far. As Jamie Campbell-Walter said, not necessarily by running at the front all the time, but that doesn't really matter. Campbell-Walter himself is carrying 80 kilos of weight, and his teammate Nicholas Springer sharing the car, also carrying 80 kilos of weight. The number 1 Labra competition Viper carrying a total of 70 kilos, but the Lister Storm number 14 carrying that 80 kilos. They had 80 Ks after the first race, 80 kilos after the first race, and after Brno, their 2 wins. So the Listers 4th and 3rd in the Superpole. This is the number 15 car, Bobby Verdenrose sharing with Paul Knapfield, and they at the moment are well, remarkably weight-free. Bobby Verdenrose picked up 30 kilos at Silverstone, but then with their non-finish at Brno, they dropped 40. And so they, well, you don't get minus kilos, you just go back down to your starting minimum weight limit. So their car running some 80 kilos lighter than the sister car. And to give you an indication of what that means, that's probably some 13.5 stone of weight taken out of the car. Second fastest, the Carsport Holland car of Mike Hazemans and Anthony Kumpen. Kumpen qualified last time out at Brno. This weekend, back to Mike Hazemans. Well, after a runaway performance in the Czech Republic on not a dissimilar circuit, lots of elevation changes, lots of medium to slow speed corners, they must be hopeful of another fine showing. And this is part of the tyre war developing, of course, because Pirelli, Michelin and Dunlop battling at the front of the GT class. Dunlop with the 2 wins so far from the Lister Storm pair. And the Pirelli teams are looking for their first of the season. Carsport Holland car, Hazemans and Kumpen, though, just outpaced by the number 23 Ferrari. Now, the Ferrari 550 Maranello of Andrea Piccini and Jean-Denis Delatraz was the pole sitter, with 3rd driver Thomas Enger, the Czech, in Brno, the Czech Republic, as he guested in the car, put it on pole by a big margin in Superpole, and then also managed to run away at the front of the field. Back to its regular pairing, Delatraz and Andrea Piccini. Piccini, ex-Formula 3000 driver. Delatraz, also an ex-Formula 3000 driver many years ago for First Racing. And also raced for First Racing the number 5 Ferrari that Philippe Alliot drives at the moment, 2 years ago in the series. Well, Andrea Pacini saying that the car was very good indeed this morning in the qualifying session. We had a few motor problems. Apart from that, everything was okay, and the team's doing a good job. Is the temperature causing you problems? Yeah, a lot of problems. We're trying to sort out a solution to the problems for next week for tomorrow's race. Qualifying in Superpole, heat's not so much of a problem, but tomorrow it will be. Tomorrow I'll drive the first and the third part, and it will be very tiring. We're trying to get more air into the car. Of course, this weekend is the first weekend of June, the height of the summer on the plains of Spain. We were here in September last year, and even then it was pretty hot. In the NGT category, this is the sixth place car, the Freisinger Motorsport car number 55, and the French GT driver Stéphane Daudy doing the qualifying duties here. He shares it with Belgian Bert Longin. Freisinger Motorsport with two cars, of course, here. As ever, Stefano Ortelli in the other one. And that is the car expected to lead the NGT charge. But it's not just about Freisinger versus Porsche, because this car has been going exceptionally well also. The 58 Auto Orlando sport car, Philipp Peter and Toto Wolff. And they're also joined by teammates Joel Mathias, the Swiss, and Luca Rangoni. Now, these pair are racing in the Clio Sport Series, the V6 mid-engine Clios, and they also are racing in a second Auto Orlando Porsche here, so they'll have a very busy weekend indeed. Fifth place then for Philipp Peter in the NGT Superpole runs. In fourth place, it's another of the Porsches, and it is the sister car, the other Auto Orlando car. As I mentioned, Joel Mathias, the Swiss, ex-Formula 3000 ace, now turned V6 racer, and Luca Rangoni, who for years has raced in Renaults, in the Formula Renault Euro Cup, in Renault Spiders, and now in the V6 Clio Trophy. And now their teammates, of course, Philipp Peter and Toto Wolff, have been racing all year, and they've got a 25 kilo weight disadvantage to this car, the sister car, which has got a fraction quicker. Top three then, the 51 Ferrari, Andrea Bertolini and Andrea Gabagnati sharing that car. And there you can see they're starting their lap. The JMB Racing team back up to 4 cars now this weekend, because the 53 car, which was badly tubbed at Silverstone and missed out on Brno, it is back. So all 4 cars, the two 2002 spec cars, of which this is one, and Christian Pescatori and Andrea Montermini's car is the other, and the two 2001 cars for Gianni Girodi, Lambertini, Pregliasco and Alexander. Second quickest, Porsche, and Antonio Garcia returns to the FIA GTs since the last time he raced, which was, oh yes, here in Spain last year. And the Italian, of course, racing in the Nissan Formula Open Series, whatever it is called again this week. And in the RWS Motorsport car. This is the second RWS car, of course. Nikolai Fomenko and Alexander Vasiliev racing in the other entry. And that leaves us with a Ferrari, of course, on pole. No, in fact not. The lead Ferrari of Pescatori and Montermini had a problem in the qualifying session and didn't make it into the top 6 times, which means no chance for Superpole. They had a have a look in my notes to find out what happened to them, but it does mean that Stefano Ortelli with Sacha Masson, the Porsche Works driver, sharing with him, are the fastest of the lot. They top the field in terms of the NGTs, at least. So in the GT class, Pacini's Ferrari on pole, so second consecutive pole for the Ferrari. Hazeman's Car Sport Holland car lines up alongside. Then the black Lister Storms on row 2, Babini and Duez, 5th ahead of the other Viper in 6th spot. Now in the NGT class, it's Porsche's 1st and 2nd, the sole Ferrari in 3rd, and the rest of the Porsches swamping it. I think that it will be a tough job for the Ferrari to lead into the first turn, but who knows, racing's always racing.